The sound of the doorbell startled me out of my thoughts. I had been standing at the kitchen sink, staring out the window at the overcast sky, lost in the familiar haze that had clouded my days for months now. Ever since Michael left, everything in my world had taken on a dull, gray tone. Even the cheerful yellow curtains I'd picked out last spring looked faded now. I wiped my hands on a dish towel and made my way to the front door, unsure of who could be visiting me without calling first. When I opened it, I was surprised to see my neighbor, Daniel. He lived across the street with his teenage daughter, Emily. I hadn't spoken to him much beyond the occasional wave or small talk over the mailbox. He was friendly, quiet, and always seemed to be in a rush. Another single parent, just like me, juggling responsibilities in the chaotic dance of everyday life. "Hi, Rachel," he said, offering a nervous smile. "Sorry to drop in unannounced, but I didn't know who else to talk to." I blinked, thrown off by his directness. "Is everything okay?" He hesitated for a moment, then let out a sigh. "Can I come in? It's kind of a long story." I nodded and stepped aside, gesturing for him to come in. He looked anxious, his normally calm demeanor replaced by something more frantic, more vulnerable. I led him into the living room and offered him a seat on the couch. He sat down, fidgeting with the zipper on his jacket. "I didn't mean to bother you," he began, "but I'm having some trouble with Emily. She's been acting out, skipping school, and locking herself in her room. I thought maybe you'd have some advice. You've been through your share of hard times, and, well, Emily trusts you." That last part caught me off guard. "She does?" Daniel nodded.
Yeah.
"She told me once that you were the only adult she felt comfortable talking to besides me. Said you listened and you didn't judge." I was touched but confused. I didn't recall having many deep conversations with Emily, though she had stopped by a few times to borrow sugar or help me carrying groceries. Maybe those small moments meant more to her than I'd realized. "Well," I said softly, "I'd be happy to talk to her, if she's willing." Daniel smiled for the first time since arriving. "Thank you. I don't know how to reach her anymore. After her mom passed away, I thought we were managing, but now I'm not so sure." I understood that pain all too well. Losing someone you loved tore holes in you that never quite closed. I lost my husband, Michael, in a car accident just over a year ago. Since then, I'd been trying to patch things together for my son, Luke, who is now 9, and for myself. Some days were better than others. Most days were just about surviving. Later that evening, Daniel brought Emily over. She was quiet, with her arms crossed, her dark hair falling in front of her face like a curtain. She didn't want to talk at first, so I didn't push. Instead, I made some hot chocolate and invited her to help me bake cookies. It was something I used to do with Luke when he had trouble expressing himself. Baking has a way of opening people up. At first, she resisted, but by the time the dough was mixed and the first batch in the oven, she started to talk. Nothing big, just small things about school, about her friends, about how she missed her mom but hated talking about it because it made everyone uncomfortable. I didn't try to fix it or offer advice. I just listened. After that, Emily began coming over more often. Sometimes she'd bring her homework, other times she'd just sit on the porch with me. We didn't always talk, but there was comfort in the silence. Daniel seemed relieved. He looked less stressed, even started smiling again. One Saturday morning, he showed up at my door with a thank you card and a potted plant. "I just wanted to say thanks," he said, holding it out. "For helping Emily. For being there when we needed someone." I smiled and invited him in for coffee. That morning turned into an afternoon and then dinner. We talked about everything: parenting, grief, music, old dreams we'd both let go of. It felt strange and easy at the same time. Like we had been orbiting the same pain but in separate circles, and now our paths were slowly intertwining. Over the weeks that followed, Daniel and I grew closer. He started helping out around the house, fixing the leaky faucet in the kitchen and trimming the hedge in my backyard. In return, I cooked meals for him and Emily and occasionally watched over her when he had to work late. Our friendship deepened, and so did the quiet connection between us. One evening, after dinner, we sat on the back porch watching Luke and Emily chase fireflies across the yard. Daniel leaned over, his voice barely above a whisper. Sometimes I wonder if maybe things happen for a reason. Not that we wanted any of this, not the loss or the pain. But maybe something good can come out of it. I looked at him, my heart pounding. I've been thinking the same thing. He reached for my hand, and I let him. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel so alone. It wasn't a declaration, and it wasn't a promise. But it was a beginning. We didn't rush into anything. Our kids came first, and healing was still a long road. But we leaned on each other, slowly building something new out of the pieces left behind. Emily started seeing a school counselor and joined a local art club. Luke, encouraged by his new friend, took up reading again and smiled more often. Daniel and I continued to share our evenings, our struggles, our hopes. There were days when it all felt overwhelming, when grief returned in waves and threatened to pull us under. But now we had each other, and that made all the difference. Months passed. One autumn evening, with the leaves turning golden outside and the air filled with the scent of cinnamon from Emily's latest baking attempt, Daniel looked at me across the dinner table. "I never expected that knocking on your door that day would change everything," he said softly. I reached for his hand and squeezed it. Neither did I. But it did. It changed everything.